All right, we are live. We go live on Instagram here as well. 1 second here. Okay, we are live on X, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Let's go ahead and get started. This is going to be a really short one. Prophecy and politics. Welcome, President Bukele. Once again, the man has saved his country, and now he's speaking on world issues. Here is President Bukele. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that right. The president of El Salvador. You know who I'm talking about. The guy who saved his country by locking up, what is it? Like not even 1% of the population, all the violent criminals in El Salvador, and now that country is a shining beacon of happiness and freedom. Here he is quoting Revelation chapter 13, verse 18, and he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hands or in their foreheads, that no man may buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. He's talking about the mark of the beast, and he's relating it to the digital ID cards that they are now pushing in the UK. I wanted to start there. I have a lot of topics to talk about. I do not even have a good outline here today because this is going to be a really short one. There's a lot of news to cover, a lot of news. Let me back it up here. The focus again, our economy is a train wreck. How does this relate to, oh, you know what? Actually, I keep jumping around. Let me say briefly about that Mark of the Beast quote from President Bukele. The digital ID that they're pushing, which that's the start. That's how it started in China. That's how it's happening in the UK. That very well may be how they implement the Mark of the Beast. It's not the Mark of the Beast itself. And I got to be clear on that. That may be the tool that they use to enforce it. So there's a distinction. If you want to understand the Mark of the Beast, you need to know who the beast is first. And so go ahead and check out my YouTube. I have a whole series on that, the New World Order and Bible Prophecy, where I identify the beast. Classic Reformation position on that. And then also you need to know that Revelation 13:18 is quoting Deuteronomy 6:8. Amazing to me how few Christians know that. Go look that up. Go look up Deuteronomy 6:8 and compare that verse to Revelation 13, verses like 16 through 18, the last few verses. Okay. I continue to talk about how we are doing a massive disservice in this country to our young people. The unemployment rate for 16 to 24-year-olds is now 10.5% per Bloomberg. Guys, I want you to get out of your head. If you were, someone who was born in the 80s like I was, or even older than that, get out of your head the idea that, oh, this young generation just doesn't care. No. These kids are looking for jobs. These kids have good degrees and they can't find work. And the reason why is we are giving their jobs away to foreigners. And that's something that you're going to hear me talk about a lot. This is related. Okay, there's some kids who are like that. Of course, every generation has that, but it's different. You have to realize it's different for these young people nowadays. When you grew up, you did not have to compete with the entire world for white collar jobs. We had illegals here, back in the day, taking farm worker jobs, but not white collar jobs. Now they're taking the white collar jobs. They're even taking the trucking jobs. This is related. So this is the number of licenses that states. This is the breaking news today. I'll give you, here's a closer one. Governor Kevin Stitt, licenses to drive trucks, CDL licenses with no name given. New York, California, some of these other states are doing this stuff. Even states like Texas. Don't let that rhino governor of Texas lie to you. They're doing it. At least they have in the past. I don't know. They may change it now. And the reason why is because they get kickbacks from these corporations. These politicians are all corrupt. So we're giving away I mean, look at this. Here's a picture on your screen. For those who are listening, I'll describe this. New York State commercial driver's license, CDL license. This is the governor of Oklahoma showing this, posted this on Twitter. A picture of a New York State CDL license, and where the name is supposed to be, it says no name given. So that's the name, no name given. Here's a picture of a bunch of these. California and New York State, no name given, no name given, no name given. Here's a bunch of illegals, foreigners coming into our country, taking truck driving is one of the jobs. If you are someone who is just a young male who wants to make a decent living and raise a family, you get out of high school, you don't want to go to college and maybe get a professional degree, because not everyone needs to do that. And you want to get it, you just want to work. You want to work full time and raise a family. Truck driving is one of the ways you can do that in America. They're taking those jobs and giving them to foreigners. This is, in my mind, this is treason. These companies should be shut down. These truck driving companies who are doing this. And then, okay, well, here's Chuck Grassley. You know, he's one of these rhinos. He's partnering with Dick Durbin, and they're coming in to fix, and I put fix in quotation marks, the H-1B problems that are happening in this country. Giving away work visas. They're called H-1B visas. I talk about this almost, I've been talking about this almost every episode because it's very important. And he's coming in, Chuck Grassley and Dick Durbin are coming in and saying they're going to reform this. They're not reforming it. They're helping. They're giving perks to the companies that are doing this. They're not reforming it. Okay, so they're slamming Amazon. They like to, saber rattle is the term. Oh yeah, this is horrible. You're taking the jobs and you're giving them to these foreigners. They like to say this stuff, yet the reform bill rewards that very behavior by giving H-1B visa priority to foreign STEM graduates from U.S. schools. That's how it works. You want to know how this whole why kids don't have jobs, why young people don't have jobs in this country, is because the university system would rather take full tuition, out of state, out of country tuition from foreigners. They get paid more. Then they would rather do that than take an American student with in-state tuition that's cheaper. They want the full tuition bill from a foreigner, and they get rewarded to do that. We give these student visas, hundreds of thousands of student visas in this country, and then we prioritize those foreigners to take our jobs here in America. We are literally importing people to take away the white-collar professional jobs from our young people. If you're an older person, if you're 40 and older, you did not have to deal with that when you were a kid. The H-1B program started in 1990. If you entered the job market before then, you didn't have to deal with that. And it wasn't that bad when it first started in 1990. It's gotten worse and worse and worse. And these Republicans are not fixing it. They're talking about it, but they're not fixing it. This is one of the biggest problems in our country today, is guys like Chuck Grassley or guys like the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, are frauds. And here he is talking about, oh, well, Texas prohibits CDLs to refugees, asylum seekers. He's lying. He's lying. Look at this guy. He gets destroyed in the comments when he talks about this, because it's a big talking point right now. So Republicans like this will come out and talk about it. But they're rhinos. This is a Bush guy. Greg Abbott, he's a Bush guy. He's not MAGA. He says, look at this. They're showing the data. Texas has already given out thousands of these, tons of these. Here's the data. And just getting destroyed in the comments. So why is it, if Greg Abbott comes out and he says, look, we prohibit giving out CDLs to refugees and all this kind of stuff. Well, why is it that Texas just came out and said, effective today, we suspend the issuance of certain CDL licenses? We're suspending the issuance. This just came out today, the 29th. No, yesterday. 29th of September. Texas is suspending the issuance of non-domicile CDLs to non-citizens who are refugees, asylees, or DACA recipients as of today, September 29th. Why did this happen in September 29th, 2025? Why did this just happen? They were doing it before? Why? There is no reason for this. We do not have a shortage of truck drivers in this country. And if we did, the solution is more training programs and raise the wages even higher for Americans. You don't bring in foreigners to take our jobs at a lower rate and then give them a license that doesn't even have a name on it. I'll show you again. If you're just joining us, here we go. No name given on these licenses. No name given. Texas is giving these out. So these problems are not going to be solved until Americans pay closer attention to what these politicians are doing, not just what they're saying. Because they will come out and they will say things like, Chuck Grassley, oh, we're going to stop this visa abuse of foreigners coming in and taking our jobs, and then turn around and reward companies for doing it. They prioritize foreign STEM grads from U.S. schools to take American jobs. Or guys like Greg Abbott. Oh, we don't issue CDLs to refugees and asylum seekers. No, we don't. And then they just did that. Just stopped it like yesterday because it's in the news. That's what politicians have figured out, is that if they talk a big game but don't actually do it, the average American doesn't have time to pay attention to the details and Republicans are too nice. And who ends up getting hurt? Our economy and our young people are getting completely screwed. I showed you the statistics. Here it is. Unemployment rate for 16 to 24-year-olds is now at 10.5%. Guys, it is not just because these young people don't want to work. Yes, there's a percentage of that in every population. That's not it. These young people are applying for jobs and they can't find them. All right, I'm going to move on. I went after that a good amount. We don't have a lot of time. Don Lemon, or is it Lemon? This guy, he's married to a white person. He's married. I put married in quotations marks. He's not married. That's not a marriage. He is whatever, that legal abomination where he's united by some legal abomination with a white man. He says white men are lazy and dumb, and that your country the grandparents lived in doesn't exist anymore. He says that white men, something deep in you is broken. You guys believe that violence is the answer. Black men are 4 times more likely to be arrested for violence than white men, and 7 times more likely to commit murder. This is clownishly false, number one. Number two, this is the kind of stuff, what Lemon is saying here is the kind of stuff that liberals think Charlie Kirk was saying about black people. He wasn't. Charlie Kirk was just quoting statistics. But this kind of inflammatory language, white men, something deep in you is broken. You guys believe that violence is the answer. That's the kind of thing, if you reverse the races, that liberals thought and still think that Charlie Kirk was saying about black people. But he wasn't. I mean, what Lemon is saying is more textbook racism than anything Charlie Kirk said. Charlie Kirk just quoted the statistics. Lemon is just like, something's wrong with white people. It's white men. I mean, here's the statistics. This is crazy. Black women have a higher murder rate than white men. By the way, this is culture. This is culture, and it can be changed because it wasn't always like this. So don't misunderstand. I'm not here to just bash on black people, but these are the current statistics. They can change. And these are the kind of statistics that Charlie Kirk mentioned, which should cause introspection and a change instead of people just getting mad and saying, oh, you're racist for saying reality. Meanwhile, and of course, this is related, because of the facts that Charlie Kirk gave, The Anti-Defamation League, the ADL, is now calling Turning Point USA an extremist hate group. At the same time, they're going around and saying that Antifa is pretty normal, not really violent. They're not that bad. Downplaying Antifa, but TPUSA, they're saying, is an extremist hate group. It's insane. It's crazy. It's the opposite of reality. This is the delusional fantasy world that liberals live in. People who just watch, mainstream leftist media. These are the kind of heroes that you see in mainstream leftist media on the left. And I'm actually going to have to wrap this up soon. I don't have a ton of time. Asada Shakur, she's being, lauded because she just passed away. By the way, when I was a young person, many of you know that I was raised Democrat. I was on the left. I was a Mexican in California, and that's just kind of that's like in the water. It's in the air. You just go with the left if you're of that demographic group in California, And I was raised on hip hop. There's a song by Common, the rapper Common, all about Asada Shakur. And in it, I used to love the song. I used to, this is this great hero. And he never mentions her crimes in the song. It's just this beautiful melody and how she's the epitome of power. And, the woman was part of a group whose stated goal was killing police, and had just come from, they were like going on a tour doing these kind of murders, and was pulled over speeding and murdered a state trooper. She murdered a state trooper named Warren Forrester, who was a father. I think he had like 3 kids. And she was convicted of this. Here's one. My favorite story about Shakur is that this is like Tupac's aunt or something like that. Asada Shakur. My favorite story about Shakur was the time she robbed a church and threatened to blow a priest's head off over $1,800 that was set aside to feed the poor. The perfect socialist. Digital ID. Let's end it with this. Netflix pushing transgenderism on children. A show advertised to 7-year-olds pushing transgenderism to children. This is this kind of stuff the right should be focusing on right now. This is the kind of stuff we have to focus on. All right, I'm going to end it there for the sake of time. There's so much more we can go on to. Maybe I'll come back on again later. I just wanted to do a quick live, catch you up on what's going on in the news. Go back and read Bukele. Go back and read Revelation chapter 13. Let's see if I can find the quote from him again. Revelation 13. Where is he? I know I just had it up on the screen. Revelation 13, verse 16 through 18. That he's quoting. Well, he quoted this. Here's the quote. Revelation 13, 16 through 18. Go back and read it and then compare it with Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 8. And you'll see that the mark of the beast passage is quoting Deuteronomy 6, verse 8. And then keep in mind when you read it that God has a seal of God that's found in Revelation chapter 7. That's what Deuteronomy 6 is talking about. And compare it with Revelation 13. There's your short Bible study for the day. Tell me what you find in the comments. All right. Thank you for joining us. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We are on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and X. And this will be posted on in podcast form on Spotify and Apple. Follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Look up my name, Joshua Fontania, on all those platforms, and you can find me easily. God bless you. We'll be back again quickly. This was just a short one. All right. Take care, guys.